What I discover every day is that my job is really it's the renewal of my inner life. It's almost like a resurrection of self. And this is something that has to take place until the moment I leave the world. It makes everything interesting. It really brings the world alive, and I think it's essential that we develop a chakra system that enables us to do this every day, keeps life from getting boring, lethargic, uninteresting. I mean, even the simplest things become almost magical if we just simply resurrect ourselves inside, renew our inner life. And I think all this meditation is about is doing this. And in order to do it, you have to build a chakra system that enables one to do it. And one of the difficult parts of this is that, look, every day that passes, we all get a bit older. Now, to see what happens to people when they get old, go to some geriatric residence and look at the level that people live on. It'll scare the pants out of you. You understand that I got to work on myself, but this is what the future is. And the future shouldn't be this. The older we get, the more wisdom we should have, the more energy we should have. I mean, the body gets older and there are aches and pains and et cetera, et cetera. But as the chakra system strengthens itself, we're more deeply connected to the source of creative energy in the universe. There's more wisdom, there's more knowledge, there's more love, there's more openness. If the chakra system is not connected there, I'll repeat it, go to some geriatric residence and see what happens to people when they're 70s and 80s, and how their entire inner lives dissipate and the body follows suit. This is totally one's responsibility to themselves on how they live their life, what they do with their time and energy, and how they don't take for granted this amazing gift we're given that can connect us to energy in the universe that has no limitation. Call it God, call it spirit, call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It's that energy that brings with it wisdom and knowledge and enables us to maintain a strong inner life no matter how old we get. I mean, if there's anything I learned on being and taking a vacation, it was this. I have no choice but to continue to build my inner life. It's what brings me back here every day, to do the depth of inner work that makes what I'm talking about possible. I ain't getting any younger, but my inner life keeps getting younger, which is astonishing to me. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? And I'm not saying there aren't aches and pains and physical problems. I mean, everybody has that. Nobody is unique and free of all of those physical problems. They come with age, the body, wears down. But the chakra system doesn't have to, as long as we maintain discipline, focus, inner work, use the mind and breath properly, and have a need to truly become one with higher energy in the universe. Does anyone have a question? I'm
I have
back.
a question,
I'm
Stuart.
Yes, Helen.
Welcome back, first of all. I missed you. I had a question after, again, looking at your gorgeous book and the amazing pictures that are in it. And so was wondering if you could explain the significance of deities in union and how does this enhance spiritual practice?
The what union?
Can you explain the concept and significance of deities in union
The
and
who
how
union?
does
I didn't
in,
get
in,
that.
in union, deities in union?
The union of man with deities?
No, the deities in union, if you could explain the concept and significance of it, and how does this enhance spiritual practice? And I'm referring to the pictures and the artwork in your book.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of it's very sexy.
Yes.
Look, it's not really, when they created those works of art, it wasn't, it wasn't just erotic. I mean, you can go to Khajuraho in India. It's unbelievable. A temple where gorgeous gods and goddesses are fornicating in every imaginable position. But what they were into was the fact that the union of the male female is essential for spiritual evolvement. And the representation of gods, goddesses, Mahasiddhas, and consorts coupling is really getting down to the basic place where the male female energy in a human being merges, and that's in the sexual area. I mean, and that mergence is what activates Kundalini and enables a person to truly become one with God. So it's not just Eros that they're talking about. They're talking about a much deeper principle, which is the merging of male, female, yin yang, Shiva, Shakti, in the Hebrew, Jehovah, Shekhinah. There has to be that mergence of male, female. And you can be gay, you can be straight, you can be, I don't know what, there's any one of those letters in the alphabet that they hit you with today, and it doesn't matter because the activation of that energy through meditation and through a very high level of sexual, intercourse with another human being, where two people really have developed a very, extraordinary chakra system. That mergence of male female that takes place in the sexual area is an essential part of the growth of a human being and the spiritual growth of a human. It activates the force of the base of the spine, the Kundalini, which is one's pathway to God. So the paintings, the sculptures that are in my book, basically they illustrate what I'm talking about. And yet people can think, well, it's just erotic, it's just sex, and it's not. It's more than that. It's deeper than that. It's more profound than that. It's an essential step that a human being has to take if they want to get spiritual enlightenment, which is the union of the masculine and feminine inside that takes place in the sexual area. Now, not many teachers teach this. Many of them are afraid of it. They're afraid of focusing in the chakra below the navel. They're afraid of the union of the sexual energy and the power of sexual energy when it's internalized, what it does to help a human being grow. But there's nothing to be afraid of. We all have that energy. Mostly sexual energy drives the entire world crazy. People get horny, all the things you read about, you know, bishops seducing 9-year-olds. I mean, it's ridiculous what goes on in the world with sexual energy. But that's not what these great and wise masters were talking about in the 6th century, in the 10th century, when they created these works of art. They were talking about the power of sexual energy and how it truly helps a human being to develop a spiritual life. And this energy can't be used promiscuously. It's not going to do it. You don't do this by just seducing someone and having an orgasm. There has to be consciousness involved in the union of two people in the way that you do your meditation practice and draw energy through the sexual area to the base of the spine. This is one of the great mysteries of spiritual practice that very few people really include. I mean, in most religions, it's a totally forbidden subject, and it's stupid. It shouldn't be forbidden. And what does it do? It just creates a lot of frustrated, horny human beings, that use sex in a very negative way. It's a dumping ground for their tension and garbage. And they use people that way instead of being a way to unite with somebody and allow the energy of that union to help them grow spiritually. I hope this is clear. This is not an easy subject to talk about, I mean, it's my X-rated subject here that I've learned in my life. But it's wonderful to be able to see that there's nothing forbidden about building a system inside oneself that can use sexual energy to bring together the male-female principle and activate the force of Kundalini, which is the pathway to God. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I hope this is clear because, yes, Tantra deals with erotic sexual energy. My book isn't about that. My book is about how to make, the esoteric into something practical. That's what the book is really about. How to take Tantra, this really esoteric subject, and make it practical in the development of a spiritual life so that everything in life becomes tantric, magical, full of wonder, transforming. The world itself is a magical place. What keeps it from being magical is just the way we see it, how congested we are inside ourselves, how full of ourselves we are, and how tension we have, and ego we have, and opinions we have. I mean, just go to I turned on the Republican convention for 10 minutes. I mean, it was, my God, anti everything, just huge egos promoting themselves. I mean, this is what goes on in the world. And we have to find a way of just seeing that as another teacher and as a magical thing that is teaching us about life. It was good for about 5.5 minutes. And I mean, it's just awful. And I shouldn't judge. That's what these people, that's their level of living. I'm not here to judge them. I'm here to learn from them about how I want to live my life, but not to judge them. Does anyone else have a question? Is that clear, Holly? I hope so.
Beautifully answered. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Luke, are you thinking about a question or you're just thinking? Hello?
Yes, I'm thinking about it, how to put this. Um, I understand you want to make a personal remark on the political situation in your country, but I have the impression it is disturbing the class. Uh, how how should I deal with this?
You have only one choice, Luke. You have to get stronger in yourself to the point where other people's opinions and how they live their life doesn't disturb you. And you can learn from them what you want to do, what you don't want to do, how you want to live. Politics is a great way to learn. You see the way these people do, and it's endless conflict. It's endless people tearing each other apart. And
Well, I have the impression from here, from Belgium, I'm not really following the situation, but it's the people who are divided in two camps, and
yes,
and each camp is like making the pressure harder and harder. So I'm thinking about how yeah, we all need to grow. That's your point, huh? And
my
I
point
understand.
is, there is a point. My point is that there's a lot of craziness in the world. There's a lot of tension. There are people divided against each other. And the horror of it is everybody knows who's right. They all know, they all think they're right.
Mhm.
You get 8 billion people in a world where everybody thinks they're right. You know, there aren't two people in the world that can see the same reality. You're going to have a lot of tension, conflict, war, people, tearing each other apart. So I tried to get to a place of myself where I don't know what's right. I don't know what's right. I know that I have to grow spiritually. I have to build an inner life that enables me to get closer to God. Getting closer to God means that, you can listen to anybody and learn something. You learn what not to do. You learn what to do. You learn, things, subtle things that people can give you that they don't even know they're giving you. And you don't get involved in all the conflict because you don't have to be right about what your belief system is. I mean, this is one of the things I've learned from, hey, look, I've been living a long time, and I was involved in all this political stuff and, protesting and marching when I was young. Back in the 60s, it was worse than today, what was going on, that Vietnam War and all that other madness that was going on. But it taught me something. I mean, when I was working with Chris, we did the Little Sisters Foundation. And I was also at the same time teaching in prisons. And the Little Sisters Foundation was about helping to keep children from being, sexually, trafficked. And I discovered something really important, and that was doing this work and teaching the meditation in the prison got more results than running a foundation trying to help children from being trafficked. And all the people, I went to meetings and I did, all kinds of events with police chiefs and governors and, I mean, God knows, politicians. And it was all about people, promoting their own ideas of what is, and nobody listening to anybody else. And I realized this is not working. And what was working was sitting with people in a prison or people in meditation classes, transmitting Shakti and spiritual practice that was helping them to change and grow. That got really a positive result. And with all the effort gone into human trafficking is worse today than it's ever been. And yet here I'm sitting with, I don't know, 20 people who can truly change. And they say in the Bible, if you save the life of one person in your lifetime, the gates of heaven open to you, you know? And I really believe that. I mean, with all the protesting we did in the 60s and all that stuff, you know, the world is crazier today than I can ever remember it being. Why? Because people are right and they don't practice deep inner work. And for the world to change, people have to change. And nobody's going to change unless they practice some kind of deep inner work that connects them with higher energy in the universe. Could be this, it could be something else. They're not going to change. But they're going to beat other people over the head with what they think is right. And I'll say it again, with all that protesting and what, you know, caring about stuff, and the world's crazier today than I can ever remember it being. I mean, I don't have many memories of World War II. I was like 2 years old, 3 years old at the time. But the madness never stops because people don't connect with spirit. The moment they connect with spirit, when they build a system inside that can allow themselves to be recipients of higher, and the world begins to change around them. Politics is not like that. It's me, it's I, my vision of power, my control of countries. So you have madness.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody can do anything to change that unless people start doing deep inner work, changing inside themselves, transforming themselves, opening their hearts, living with unconditional love and compassion and empathy for other human beings and the incredible amount of suffering that goes on in this world.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. Thank you.
Well, I'm still struggling a bit, but I will continue by myself.
Luke, nobody's perfect. I'm struggling too, a little bit, not a whole little bit, a lot, with every day sustaining a connection with spiritual.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with struggling. When you arrive and you know, then you have a real problem. Then you've got a real problem. If you continue to grow, you get more spirit.
Yes, I know. That's in is the way out. We all know that.
You know what?
Yeah, leave it.
Does anyone else have a question? That's right.
Hi, Stuart.
Hi.
So I guess what I'm trying to reside within myself is, let's say that this is a vibrational reality and that everything from the inside is a projection is coming outwards. And then I see these political things and everything that's going on. And then I think to myself, this must be a representation of some sort of division within myself that I'm not even recognizing in some way.
Yes, Brian, we all have conflict in ourselves. We all have things we have to work in imperfections inside ourselves, things we have to, and what we see in the world is a reflection of that.
Mm-hmm. But it's like, then I take accountability for the fact of like, how did it get to this point per se? If I'm like saying that this is all a projection of my consciousness.
No, but you can say, but you can change inside. All right, I am seeing conflict. I am seeing people at war. I'm seeing people there's a thing in me that's also hungry for something. There's a thing in me that also has conflict. I will change that by working deep in myself, connecting with higher energy. Then you're using that, if you'll pardon my expression, all of that bullshit to help yourself grow. It all becomes a teacher. Okay, this is what I see. I better change.
Or is the I guess my question is the alternative to just unplug completely? To
No.
just to pull out from that system of like energy and then to just fully redirect inward, not let myself leach out energy in that direction.
No, the alternative is not to cut yourself off from life. The alternative is to have compassion. Wait a minute, let me finish. The alternative is to have compassion for the people that you see in life. The alternative is to love people unconditionally, to build that kind of chemistry inside yourself that truly connects you to a higher force of energy in the universe. That is the alternative. Love is the alternative. Unconditional love. Nobody's going to change the world, but we can have unconditional love. We can have compassion. You know, I know when people come into my life, I never ask them where they were, what their past is all about. The only thing I ask is, do you want to change and grow in the moment? And then through channeling deep spiritual energy, people can change. You can help people change, but you can't help people that don't want to change. So you don't cut yourself off from life. You don't, understand, you just have more love, more compassion, more openness towards everything you see in life. And then hopefully it attracts people that want to learn the same thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I've had, just to finish this up, I've had stuff, never mind the politics of the world, I mean, personal things that people try to do to me that were horrible. They were horrible. And I really mean this. And I kept going to my teachers, Rudy, Nityananda, Ramana Maharshi, who I was close to at the time, and Ramakrishna, Sarada Devi. And the answer I got from every one of them, Stuart, forgive them. That's the only way you're going to be able to move on in your life. The only way. And I had to learn unconditional forgiveness because some of the stuff people were trying to do to me was so horrible. I won't get into what it was. It was horrible. And the only way I got free of it was through unconditional forgiveness. Not to have any revenge, any anger in me about them. Forgiveness. This was a very hard thing to learn, but I went through that to learn how to do that. Made me more human, which is something I'd wanted since the age of 5. Forgiveness made me more human. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, if there are no more questions, there will be class on Thursday. Thank you. God bless you all, and looking forward to seeing everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the questions. And thank you for making a venue here to which we all can grow. God bless you all. Thank you.
Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you.
Thank you.
That come-